Hey guys, it's Brianna here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. Today I thought it'd be kind of fun to do the mid-year freakout tag and kind of just talk about everything that I've been reading since the beginning of the year. I will say this is probably going to be my slowest reading year, which is very weird and strange to me because I've been averaging the last couple years over 300 books a year, and I have a feeling I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that this year. We'll see. I have no idea what this next school year is going to be. If you didn't know, I am a teacher. I am changing districts and only teaching one subject. I am staying in the same grade level, which is 4th grade. So we'll see how this is going to go. I have no idea what's going to happen. But needless to say, I have a feeling this is probably going to be my slowest reading year, which is so weird to me. I have read a total of 88 books so far. I know for some of you that may seem like a lot, but to me, it's not. I am used to having over 100 books by now, so this is very weird to me. So let's go ahead and get started. I have all the questions on my iPad, just so I can keep track, because otherwise I'll forget and then I'll go blank and then sit here for 10 years just rambling. Okay, so we're going to start out strong and we're going to talk about the best book of the year. Now, I can't pick just one because I'm not one of those people that can just pick one book. I've read 88 books. How can I pick just one book out of the 88 I've read? I am somebody who uses a 6-star system, so I do use the traditional, 1 through 5 stars and then as well as half stars. But for me to be able to identify those that are my favorites, I mark them as a 6-star. Obviously on Goodreads, there's no possible way to do that. I just put in my Instagram stories and things that I put a 6-star, and that just kind of helps signify that that was a favorite of the month or even of the year. So I kind of tried to condense a lot of my 6 stars into my true, these are my absolute favorite, I cannot stop thinking about them, and that sort of stuff. So I have the list right here. I gotta start out strong. If y'all know me earlier this year, I think back in March, I want to say, I did a reread / getting caught up on the Fall Amendment series by Gianna Darling. I read the first 3 years ago. I don't even remember what year. It might have been 2017, 2018, something like that. I don't know. It's been a couple years. Regardless, I freaking love those books to pieces. It was time to get caught up because we are waiting on book 7 to release, which is Caution to the Wind. So of course, all 6 of these books had to make it on the top of the list. My personal favorites in the series is, of course, Welcome to the Dark Side. That's my hands down my favorite book in the series. And a close second is Dead Man Walking, book 6. Those are probably the most common answers. I know a lot of people loved Inked and Lies. I love that one as well. But yeah, so of course we got to start out strong. Another favorite is going to be Darling Venom by Parker S. Huntington. I love this book with my whole heart. And then another favorite is going to be Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. The hype is real for this book, and it deserves all the hype it gets, just for this author in general. This is the only book I've read by this author, but she's already an audible author for me. This book, I cannot stop thinking about it. It is super dark. Not necessarily the darkest that I've read, because I've read some truly dark books in my reading journey. I mean, clearly. But it's not light at all. It is very dark, very graphic, so know that if you're going to pick that book up. But freaking loved it. Another favorite in the dark romance world is going to be Lord of London Town by Tilly Cole. If y'all know me, Tilly Cole is my all-time favorite author. I adore her. She could do no wrong in my eyes. Every book I've read by her, I've absolutely loved. I only have a few more to read by her. More so her contemporary books. Those are more... She's on 2 opposite sides of the spectrum. She either writes some truly messed up dark books, or she writes extremely emotional, rip out your heart, crying, sobbing, all that. There is no middle ground with her. She writes on opposite ends of the spectrum. But I love that woman to pieces. I got no words for her. Just, I love her. Another favorite is going to be Tide by Carrie Cole. I love this book so much. Probably more than Torn, and I can't remember when I read Torn. I think it was earlier this year. I don't even know. It might have been last year. I don't know. Tide The Definition of a Scarred Hero, Chef's Kiss. I love this book. Misunderstood Hero. Oh my god, I need this book, like a physical copy in my hands. Love this book. Another favorite, I have Shameless by Lex Martin. This is a contemporary romance. It has the single parent trope. Y'all know me, love that kind of stuff. I adore this book. I really enjoy Lex Martin. I'm actually reading an arc of her upcoming release, so I really love, she writes a lot of like new adult, like sports type romance, but love this book. Thought it was super cute. I have, if you saw my recent trying out a new genre, one of my favorites that I tried was Monsters and Muscles by Ashley Bennett. I don't know what it was about this book. It was the first book I read in that vlog and kind of technically my first monster romance, but not really. This book was just so cute. It really, I had a smile on my face, and it's just one of those that I have a feeling is going to stick out in my mind at the end of the year when I go to see what were my top favorites of 2022, and I have a feeling this is going to be high up on that list. It was just so cute. And then I have two more. I promise I'm almost done with my favorites. Like I said, I have a lot. Another favorite is going to be Heavy Crown by Sophie Lark. This is book 6 in the Brutal Birthright series. I binged this series, absolutely loved it. I have, you know, mixed feelings on each different book. Like, it wasn't just a whole like 6-star series. Overall, I think the highest rating I gave was like a 4-star, so I still very much enjoyed this series. If I had to pick my favorite, like I did for Fallen Men, it would have to be Heavy Crown. I don't know what it was about that book. It just hands down was my favorite in the series. I think my second favorite might be I think it was book 2, Stolen Heir. Again, it's those Russian mafia. They got a hold on me. Lastly is my newest recent read is going to be Balance by Alicia Franco. I finally fell down the rabbit hole. I hope to continue this series very soon. There is 5 total books, and they're each like 500 pages. So, and it follows the same couple for all 5 books. So I don't know what I'm getting myself into. I'm terrified to read the rest of the series because there's so many. It only makes me imagine what's gonna entail from this. So I love book 1. I knew that was gonna happen. I'm a sucker for age gap, and what can I say? Next question is going to be best sequel. Sorry if I keep looking down. Hands down, my favorite sequel that I read earlier this year is going to be Hunting Adeline by H.G. Carlton. This is the sequel to Haunting Adeline, and this is a stalker romance. I just feel like the stakes were higher in this book, and it definitely delved into more darker themes in this book, and it completely caught me by surprise. I was not expecting it to be as dark as it was. It had a lot of captive themes and a lot of that, I guess, like primal play in it. I couldn't stop reading this book. Like, I read it this is what happens. I think I read it in like March or April. I couldn't stop reading it. Like, I was completely enamored by this book, and it's like 600 pages. It's a chunky book. Love that book. Obviously had to be my best sequel. My new releases that I want to read that I haven't read yet, one that really sticks out to me is going to be Blindside by Candy Steiner. This just released, so I have been really looking forward to reading this book. It is beginning a lot of buzz on, you know, just social media in general, and I adore Candy Steiner. She is such a sweetheart, and I love her writing. It's been a long time since I've read one of her books, so I feel like that is going to be very high on my to-read list because I really want to get to this one very soon. So for me, that's kind of like my top pick for this question. And then I always struggle with this. I'm really bad at keeping up with new releases. That's nothing new. I do try, and I'm trying to be a little bit better about it because it is kind of nice to stay kind of in the loop with what's actually releasing. I am somebody who generally reads backlists and just tries to just randomly pick up books. So this was kind of hard for me. I picked 2 romance and 2 thrillers that are releasing fairly soon. So my 2 romances I have are Wet by Cambria Hebert. I freaking love this lady. Again, she's another author that she could do no wrong in my eyes. She writes a lot of like new adult, just like contemporary romances, and I just love her writing style. The hashtag series by her is like one of my all-time favorites. I love that series to pieces, so I'm highly anticipating this. Also, I don't have release dates because that's who I am, so I'm sorry about that. If I can find it, I'll put it on the screen, but I'm looking forward to this one. And then also I'm looking forward to Second Chance Love by Anne Robinson, another author who I've read previously, could do no wrong in my eyes. This is part of like a interconnected series. I'm gonna have to get caught up because I think this is like book 4 in the series. I read book 1 when it released, and I believe, if I remember correctly, it's a single mom. Book 1 was. Book 4, I don't remember the tropes that fall under this one. I think when she messaged me, I think she said single dad. Now, don't quote me on that. But as soon as I said, sign me up, I'm done, give me, it's mine. So I do have an arc of it that I do plan on reading very soon. I adore Emma Robinson. She's really good with some spicy scenes, so I'm very excited. My 2 thriller books are going to be 2 authors that I have read before. First one is Daisy Parker by Alice Feeney. Her previous book, His and Hers, was one of my favorite books last year. Or was it this year? No, it was last year, because I remember. I love that book. Like, I did not expect to love that book as much as I did. Oh my god, that book, loved it so much. So I'm very excited about her newest release coming out. So we'll see. I do need to read more of her backlist because I know she has a few other thriller books out. That is just the only one I've read, but I absolutely loved it. The second book that I am very excited in the thriller genre is going to be The It Girl by Ruth Ware. I've read, I think, 2 books by her at this point, One by One, and what's the other one? I forgot the other one. If I think of it, I'll put it on the screen as well. But I really enjoy her writing so far. For a lot of people, it seems to be a hit and miss. I know a lot of people didn't like One by One, and I don't know why, because it just the whole premise of a book being snowed in and this like whodunit type thing. I ate that book up. I just remember listening it, and I just remember even like sitting there doing the dishes, and I'm like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next? Like, I vividly remember listening to that book and being completely like encaptured by those stories. So I really loved it. Next question is going to be the biggest disappointment. Now, I'm somebody who generally really loves everything I read, so it's not very common for me to find a book that I just don't vibe with, but every now and then it does happen. And I have a feeling when I announced this book, I have a feeling the biggest part in why I just was so disappointed is because of the hype that surrounds this series and the high expectations I had. I don't know if there was a way for me to completely avoid it. I just wish I would have read it sooner and maybe my thoughts would be different, but it's going to be the Ravenhood Trilogy by Kate Stewart. And I am so sad to say this. I did not enjoy book 1. I just did not connect to the characters. And then just all these plot twists kept happening. And then I read book 2. And yes, that was sad. I didn't cry. I was just like, okay. Like, I just didn't feel connected to the story, and just nothing was planning out the way that I thought it would. And I really tried to like it. It wasn't horrible, let me say that. It has nothing to do with Kate Stewart's writing. I read another book by her, and it's like one of my all-time favorites. It has nothing to do with her writing style. It's just something about the story. Maybe it was just when I read it. Maybe it just wasn't the time for me to read it. I don't know, but it just did not vibe well with me, and it makes me so sad because I really wanted to enjoy it. And I probably don't think I'm gonna read book 3, The Finish Line, just because I have like no reason to. I didn't like book 1. Book 2 was okay. I don't feel like it's really necessary for me to continue, which again is very sad because I generally like all the books that I read. I would probably like it, but there's many other books that I know I'm going to enjoy better than that one. So for me, that was very sad. Next question is going to be the biggest surprise. Now, the biggest surprise is actually going to be Darling Venom by Parker S. Huntington. I know this book deserves all the hype it gets. Like, there's no question. I didn't realize what I was getting myself into. I went to this book completely blind, knowing nothing about it. I just knew it was extremely hyped, and everybody's like, oh my god, you gotta read it. So this was like my biggest surprise because I really didn't know what I was getting myself into, and I just remember I could not stop listening to the book. Absolutely loved it. So that is my biggest surprise for this year so far. My favorite new author, I have been doing this on Instagram. I just recently did a story template, whatever, of a bunch of new authors that I've tried out this year. And I was actually very surprised. I've read over 20 new authors to me this year. Obviously, one that sticks out to me is going to be Jennifer Hartman. There's just something about her writing that I've been really enjoying. Like I said, I've only read Still Beating, so I look forward to reading more of her books. And I know a lot of people on Bookstagram specifically are reading a lot of her backlist, so that just makes me really excited to read more of her books. And I have a feeling I'm going to love them anyway. Next question is going to be my favorite crushes. Now, this is so interesting because I feel like back when I really got into reading in 2013 and just like a couple years after that, I was really like focused on like who my new fictional crushes were. And I feel like in recent years, I really haven't thought about that. I don't know if that's just me, but like I don't think like as the year goes on, I'm not like, oh, you know, there's, for example, Ben Kelly, like he's like my favorite, or, you know, like I don't, so this was really hard for me to like sit there. I had to like pull up Goodreads and go through all the books that I've read this year to be like, oh yeah, him. So it was very strange for me. So of course these are all going to come from my favorite reads of the year because that makes total sense. So first up, we got my newest crush, Kova, Balance by Lucia Franco. That's a given. I like my Russian men. What can I say? I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry at the same time. There's something about a Russian man that just does it for me, so I'm sorry. Next up is going to be Priest from Dead Man Walking. What can I say? Just crazy, deranged, messed up characters. It does something for me. What does that say about me? I don't know. Next, again, Arthur from Lord of London Town by Tilly Cole. He's in the mafia. It runs like he's like a mafia boss. Again, what does that say about me? I don't know. Next up, I have Tyler from Tide by Karen Cole. Again, he is a character with a messed up past and somebody that everybody's like, oh, you can't trust him, but you actually can. He's like a teddy bear. Again, lastly, my last favorite character, Sebastian from Heavy Crown by Sophie Lark. What does that say about me? I don't know. All my favorite men are part of the mafia, some kind of dark character, messed up character. Again, this is why I read and seek out dark romance. I don't understand. The next question is going to be favorite character. I'm going to say that goes along with my favorite crushes just because for me it goes hand in hand. Book that made me cry. I tried to do a challenge in April where I really wanted to read some really emotional books. Now, don't get me wrong. I did read some books that were pretty emotional, which Still Beating and Darling Venom. They were emotional, but I was truly trying to find a book that would make me cry, and I haven't had a book make me cry in a very long time. I couldn't tell you the last time I read a book that truly made me cry or just have tears in my eyes. I don't know what's wrong with me. For the longest time, there would be like books back here, these two right here, 10 Below Zero and Ugly Love. I bawled. I have another book back here, you probably can't see it, but Brightside. Like, I read all these books, like, from years ago. I sobbed like a baby. And now, I can't even get a tear. Am I broken? I don't know. Very strange. Okay, next question is going to be most beautiful book. Now, if you know me, I have a problem with book subscriptions at the moment. I have no answer to this. I literally today is July 2nd, went and got my mail, and look what came in the mail today. The Darling Venom exclusive cover from Dark and Quirky. I missed out on the box that had this specific cover, and they recently, a couple months ago, did where you could just order this book, and I was like, I don't care how much it is, it's mine. Like, I need this cover. It is absolutely freaking gorgeous. Had to have it. So of course this is gonna be one of mine. Now I do have a lot more. Like, I have dedicated shelves to exclusive covers, so a lot of those would fall under this tag, but again, I don't want to make this video too long, so I will do definitely like Instagram posts and TikToks, so you can definitely, you know, check those out to see more specifically like my favorite covers and that kind of stuff, because I'm always posting about them. And the last question is, what do I want to read before the end of the year? Now, this is a loaded question because I am the definition of a mood reader. This is something that took a long time for me to understand, that I am a mood reader. I go through spurts. Right now I'm about to go through a thriller kick. Like, I just feel like I want to be reading thrillers right now, and it's just making me excited because then we're getting closer to Halloween. So right now I'm going through kind of like a thriller kick, not like, you know, dead set this is all I'm reading. So there are some books that I definitely want to get to. Obviously, the two that stand out to me the most is going to be finishing the Off Balance series by Lucia Franco. I have made it my goal since about last year that any series I start, I have to finish them, because if not, I will never finish them. I for years did a unfinished series like sheet on Google, and I hit well over 100. So if I don't start the series and finish it, but it's gonna get added to that list of unfinished series, because I'm somebody that will read a book and then be like, all right, what's next, like squirrel. So I've got to finish that series, and plus I love book one. Like, how can I not finish it? I just need to see what happens to these two characters and what's going to entail for five books over 2,000 pages. I don't know if I'm ready for that. Lastly is going to be Cleo Evans. Now, if you don't know who this author is, they are a monster romance type author. They have a current series out called like the Barista something. It is about to have 10 books in this series, so I'm waiting for the final book to be released so I can binge them. They're more like novella length from my understanding. And if you didn't know, I am co-hosting Summer of Spice. It's just like a book reading challenge. We started it last month in June, and it's like just a bingo board of reading different, you know, kinks and that kind of stuff. So pretty much every single book in that series goes for every single prompt. But I'm just very intrigued. Everybody who has been reading the series has loved it, so of course this is one of those that's going to be on this challenge tag on my TBR, whatever you want to call it. But those are all the questions. I look forward to seeing what the second half of 2022 is going to be like for me. 2022 in the beginning was not great for me, but it has gotten better, which is very exciting, which is why I'm back on BookTube. I finally decided to come back after months and months of really wanting to, but just never having the time to do so. Of course, it's summer, so of course I have all the free time in the world because I don't work during the summer. It's just a choice of mine. Maybe next year we'll see what happens. I don't know. I definitely needed the mental break from the chaos that was this year. Anyway, done rambling. If y'all like this video, let me know down in the comments below. Let me know if you've read any of these books or some books that, you know, you think I should read. Definitely let me know down below. But if you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.